unpredictable encounters, strange discoveries, and peculiar beings. Just when we think we've seen it all, something appears to prove us wrong. From creeps concealed in woods to animals living in the wild. Hang on to see the shocking things an explorer captures that no one was supposed to see. Hiker vanished from woods. This video is the final footage captured by a hiker's camera who got lost in the woods. The guy sadly could never make it outside of the woods, but the camera managed to capture the eerie footage. It shows the hiker walking alone in the woods, as if he was looking for something. What he was searching for was never known, but considering the voices in the background, I think the guy was being stalked by something which eventually attacked him. Well, it's just an assumption, and I could be wrong, so do let me know what you guys think of the evidence. Horned monster. It was after a few animals from his farm suddenly disappeared that the farmer began to investigate the matter. He had not gone too far when he noticed the strange horned creature lurking in the bushes. It had a horrid black figure with a goat-like face. The critter spotted the guy filming it before it too disappeared in the neighboring woods. Even though the story looked far-fetched to me, as the creature's identity was never revealed, there are some people who believed in the evidence and called the creature a chupacabra, the mythical creature known to feed on animals' blood. But let me know what you guys think. Glowing-eyed human. If not an extraterrestrial being, the sprinting creature is not a human either, because no human can run like this. This strange humanoid-looking creature was spotted on the roads of Russia. A couple of friends were returning home after a long day in the woods when they noticed this mysterious stalker. It was a huge man-like animal that sprinted towards the car. With its intentions quite clear, it forced the guys to drive away from the area as soon as possible. Although they did not know where it came from, they believed the creature stalked them from the woods and intended to hurt them before it ran away. Zombified man. It's all fun until these cryptids reveal their true identity. This is what happened with this guy who was visiting the woods. He spotted a man-like, well, he was an actual man, but with some strange features standing among the trees. Apparently, the explorer wanted to know more about the creepy man.
Buddy, how you doing?
It certainly was a mistake, because see how he shifted from being a human to weird crawler in seconds and approached the guy. Not believing his eyes at first, the explorer then accelerated his car and went far from the zombified humanoid. Mysterious creeping creatures. A group of ants creeping over each other, or some unidentified organism crawling on the ground. Both are equally freakish to me. First, watch these worm-like creatures. Now, before any of you come telling me that it's actually common practice, let me tell you, I know that. I've seen caterpillars practicing similar traits, and even some hairy worms making this never-ending chain. But watch this. These tiny, unknown creatures are what frighten me. Well, not one to lose the race. See how the ants joined in too, and made this long hanging chain from the ceiling. Avalanche versus tourist. Things took a surprising turn while the tourist was filming the avalanche. He overlooked the possibility of it approaching him, but the snowslide did not forget the man. It reached the explorer within no time. The guy engrossed in the moment had no proper shelter available for him. So, he used the rock as a shield to protect him from the storm, while he filmed the entire thing calmly. Probably because he knew that the cameraman never gets hurt. Cougar stalking hiker. At first, I would have called it a coincidence too, but observing them frequently encountering humans over and over again, that's what triggers me. I mean, this dude here being chased by a frustrated mountain lion is just one case, because in truth, they've started a never-ending pursuit of humans. Although things settled for this guy after he shouted at the chasing animal, this one had to literally beg for the lion's mercy.
No! No! Get the f*** away!
And this one here, he was headed for the lake and had no idea of the impending danger until he turned around. That's when he spotted the stalker and scared it off with a really loud shriek. Unlocked ancient graves. A group of guys found an old church in an abandoned town of England. Although they went inside to explore the ancient relics, the group discovered something else. They spotted open graves with human remains inside them. They even find a decomposing skeleton that was visible from the disclosed lead caskets. The group actually discovered desecrated ancient tombs. These tombs belong to some significant people from the past. Their resting place was probably destroyed by some burglars looking for valuable things inside. Goat walking with 2 legs. I don't know if it's some kind of new trend these animals are following, or if there's something seriously wrong with them, because for some reason, they've refused to behave normally. I'm talking about this bipedal goat. Well, actually, it's not a biped, but for some unknown reason, it became one. The goat even shocked the farmers with its strange actions when it chased to walk on its hind legs. This was not the only time a goat was spotted doing this, because, well, watch for yourself. So, is it just goats, or do you know some other animal with similar behavior? Moose without head. Do you consider an animal that has no head? Obviously, you'd call it a deceased animal. But that's just not the case with this moose, as, defying the odds, it's surviving without a head. Now, let me slow it down for you guys. Watch. There are clearly no signs of its head or even a neck. Now, there are a few who believe that the moose had some birth deformity and was born without a neck, but others believed it was a Chernobyl animal. But the actual reason remains a mystery till today. Wolf rescue. This guy did not care for his own life and saved the struggling wolf in an epic rescue. A couple of friends were taking a stroll in the wide fields of Minnesota when they spotted an exhausted wolf. Its paws were trapped inside the foothold trap. The wolf was so distressed that it rejected any sort of help and doubled the rescuer's task. But he managed to get a hold of the wild animal using a catch pole and release its paw. And thankfully, it was saved without any harm. Giraffe with crooked neck. Surviving the wildest injuries and coping with the rarest deformities, giraffes have proved themselves in the wild. First, have a look at this long-necked animal who was spotted by a tourist. The giraffe had a gaping hole in his mouth, which made it almost impossible to drink water. But surprisingly, the giraffe is fit and healthy. And now, watch this. This one was born with this rare deformity, but where the vets believe that he will not survive even a day, this one surprisingly did, and is now among one of the oldest in this African safari park. Dinosaur skeleton. A normal stroll in the woods was turned into an incredible discovery when this guy stumbled upon an animal's carcass. The carcass was discovered in the middle of the Amazonian woods, and scientists called it the most well-preserved fossil to date. The fossil belonged to a species of theropod and was called a T-Rex. Although scientists are still stunned at the discovery of millions of years old remains, they believe that the carcass was swept away by a flooded river and was carried by the sea. It eventually sank to the ocean floor and was preserved for eternity. Deer stuck in antlers. Deer have a thing for misery. They will literally look for it. And if by any chance they're unable to find some, these animals will create one, just like this one here. The deer was in the middle of an intense battle when it somehow got itself trapped inside its own antlers, but regretted it the next moment. Although the distressed animal instantly began to struggle to free itself, it was all in vain, until the deer eventually freed its antlers and saved itself from a miserable end. Creature inside tunnel. The dude decided to take his exploring the woods plan to a next level when he entered the tunnel. He heard some strange voices coming from inside.
Hello?
And went to see what's causing them. Well, this is what happens when you don't consider the consequences seriously. As soon as he went inside, he heard the voices again. But this time, it was a little bit different. The strange humanoid figure was right there. It was about to make its first attempt when the guy ran towards the end and saved himself. Bear on tree. What's the furthest you expect an animal to go for its desired meal? I would suggest going a little further when you consider bears. Because now, they've achieved the advanced level of hunting, like here. Watch how a bear climbs the tall tree. It was actually for the eagle's eggs that were present at the top. The bear looked for the right time to sneak up in the eagle's nest. Just when it went out for some food, the bear came and grabbed a few of them, climbed back down, and enjoyed what it had earned. Striking figure. I'm not sure if it is the people who are crazy for cryptids, or if it's the other way around. This guy was filming his food base when he sensed movement in the woods. While he was trying to figure out whether it was real or just his doubt, the albino humanoid made things quite certain. It sprinted out of the woods and went straight for the guy. Although he somehow managed to ditch the strange figure, nobody could figure out what it actually was. Dog captures Sasquatch. When I say there are otherworldly creatures present in the depths of the woods, you have got to believe me. If not, trust this dog who accidentally captured the Sasquatch-ish figure strolling in the woods. This dog had a camera tied to its back to help detect it if it got lost in the woods. Even though the dog returned home safely, the camera captured something outworldly. It was a huge, around 1.8 meter tall bipedal creature. The hairy figure was walking in the other direction, and surprisingly, did not bother the dog walking near it. Wolf and fox froze. This frozen duo was spotted by a man during his stroll in the woods. He filmed the rare sight of a wolf and a fox frozen in time. While the reason behind their unusual appearance remains unknown, it looks to me as if they were in the middle of an intense battle when the cold blizzard decided to interrupt, leaving the result of the never-ending fight for you guys to decide. Bigfoot shake trees. Of course, there's a possibility this could be the work of someone cutting down trees. That's why I want you guys to watch the clip fully until the end. A drone owner accidentally captured this bizarre clip of a bunch of trees shaking weirdly in the middle of the woods. While many believe that it was the usual cutting of trees, it was how one of the trees was carried away in the middle of the dense forest that changed things for everyone. So, some bipedal creature behind this, or something else? I'm not so sure about it, you guys, but looks like the work of some strong hands to me. Mysterious tracks. Exploring the woods after a strong blizzard, this guy spotted some mysterious tracks on his way. It happened in a remote area near Washington, where a guy spotted these strange tracks. They were insanely huge and indicated that they did not belong to a human. So, a moose? For them to be of a moose, there'd have to be a moose anywhere around or even somewhere near the woods. But residents cleared that they've almost never encountered one in that area. So, whose tracks were these? Let me know your views on the video. Alien in woods. Camping in the woods is a good idea unless you plan to do it alone, just like this guy. He probably overestimated his abilities when he decided to spend the night in the woods. It was after midnight that he heard footsteps approaching his camp. Not scared, but actually curious to know who was behind this, he came out of his camp. Consider it the only mistake he made, as a few feet away from his camp was this. A human-like creature with nothing like a human, except, well, you can watch it for yourself. It didn't even have a face, but was still looking straight at the guy. It lunged for the guy, but luckily, that guy made it out of the woods before the cryptid could cause him any harm. Moose charges man. You can never predict what these giant animals are up to, just like this guy here. Well, I don't really know what he was thinking of the advancing animals, and why exactly he didn't find shelter beforehand. The video starts with two moose running, but all of a sudden, they shifted their head towards the guy, and within no time, they were right ahead of him. Literally leaving no time for reaction, they forced the man to climb the tree. He was eventually saved from a miserable end. cryptid with glowing eyes. A guy followed the voices in the woods and found this alienish being hiding behind the bushes. This guy lived in a remote area of Oregon. Considering the voices of some lost animals, he went out to search, but found nothing. He was returning home when he noticed some movement.
The heck is that? Oh my god!
And there it was, the source behind all the mysteries, the demonic being with glowing eyes. It looked straight into his eyes and forced him to sprint out of the woods. Mythical creature. Although they were aware it was not going to end well, these guys carried on with their stroll even after they heard footsteps approaching them. It was when they were halfway through the forest, one of the guys spotted the freakish creature watching them from behind the trees. It had glowing eyes with a horrid figure. The features resembled an old witch that's believed to have cursed the land long before there were any people there. It was not the only time people spotted the bizarre creature, as a few of them recorded a similar one in the bushes some days later. So, a witch or not? Let me know what you guys think. Smoke blowing buck. All the guy had to do was look in the buck's eye. That was it. I don't know why, but it somehow enraged the antlered animal, and he began doing this. Now, I'm not sure if any of you already knew this, because I certainly did not. That's why I looked it up on the internet, and it turned out that bucks actually do this. They actually blow out smoke whenever they feel threatened. And if that's not the case, they perform this strange action to scare their opponent, just like here, when it considered the guy its enemy. It's time for today's open discussion. This image was captured by an explorer who was stalked by this freakish creature for a long time. The story dates back to the year 2022, when a hiker returned with this eerie evidence of a cryptid living in the wilds. It sure looked like an extraterrestrial creature, but when a majority claimed the image to be a hoax, I searched the internet myself. And after a little digging, I came across this clip. It shows a similar creature stalking a photographer, and just when it realized that the guy noticed its presence, it disappeared into the woods. But real or a hoax? I'm leaving that one up to you guys to decide. Cryptid encounter. From hearing mysterious sounds to encountering the weird entities of the wild, it's all a matter of seconds before a normal expedition is turned into a fight for survival. A group of friends were driving home after a long hike day when they first heard the strange voice. It was coming from inside the woods. Instead of driving away, they decided to explore the woods. That's when they entered the pitch-dark forest and began the search. Clearly, the cryptid didn't want them to stay in the woods much longer, because it appeared shortly after they started the search. It was a humanoid figure who intended to attack the guy.
Run!
That's when they realized the danger and ran for their lives. Ghost infant. Woods and abandoned places have a similarity. They are never a good option to explore. Now, before you guys come at me, watch this clip. A couple decided to spend a night inside this abandoned house. Well, that's what they assumed, as there was something already inside the building. Now, what it really was, that's for you guys to decide. But considering its wide head, it appeared to me as some sort of alien infant that took shelter inside the house.
Did you see it move?
Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.